Thanks everybody for showing up. Go. Is anybody coming in? Yeah, everybody will be here in just a second. Takes a minute for everybody to show up to these things. Hey Rick, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you. I'm just trying to get my everything to show up here on this, on my monitor. Just waiting for that to come up. Thank you so much for letting me know that. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for letting me know that. There we go. And yeah, we are officially live. Takes about a minute. Hey Tom, what's up, buddy? Mercy B, how are you, man? Or sir? I don't know. What is Mercy B? Mercy, I shouldn't assume those things. Greg Hart, what's up, buddy? Let me just get over to my regular light here. There we go. Yeah, we got people pouring in now. RT Scott, how you doing? That's what I thought, Mercy B. That's what I thought. But see, I don't have social media, so I don't know you guys from Facebook or any of these other places. So anyway. But yeah, thanks for showing up tonight. I appreciate everybody coming in. We're going to make something that's fairly easy. We're going to just scroll over here for a minute while I move everything off of the stove. And all that. I'm gonna make some room and get everything started. I'll move my teapot over and got some of the extras that we're not gonna be using tonight. Got the Aunt Katie's pan, Old Faithful that never leaves the stove. That's going off to the wayside for a little bit. And then we're going to bring out the star for the show. This is going to be a one-pan deal. We're just going to do the Lodge number 9. The Costco pan. One I love so much. I love the size. And this is what we're going to need. I suggest, I usually do this in the number 9 or number 10. This was on the very top of my number 9s tonight, so that's where we're going to be. And we'll go from there. But we're going to start off. This was a recipe that that I made a few years ago. I used to watch, you guys don't know, but I watch a lot of UFC, and there used to be a really famous trainer named Mike Dolce, and Mike Dolce used to train everybody back in the day, and I used to follow Mike. I'm going to heat my pan up here, make sure that everything's in there. But anyway, I used to follow Mike Dolce, and Mike Dolce had a bunch of recipes that he would feed the UFC fighters when they were trying to lose weight. And this past year with my shoulder surgery, not being able to do anything for 11 months, and being unsuccessful with a few diets, I'm going back to what I used before that lost me 30 to 35 pounds. I can't remember exactly how many. But we're going to start that, and it's really easy. There's a little bit of science behind it, but not a whole heck of a lot. And we're just going to jump right into it. I'm going to grab the main ingredient here tonight, and that is going to be my chicken. Bust out the chicken here real quick and get that over here. Move the my 11 herbs and spices out of the way. Get that stuff out of the way. And get everything going in here. I broke out the big kahuna board. Another thing, I don't know if you guys know, I have a thing for cutting boards. I have a crap ton of cutting boards laying around. And that is, that's this one. Which I don't know if you can see it fully or not. I'll move that camera and you can maybe get a good look at that from the side angle. But yeah, that's a big one. That is a big board, big long board. Get that centered back up there. No, we're not doing. We're going to do like it said in my community page. We're doing a diet. This is one that I use. This is kind of a New Year's resolution meal, and I am big on New Year's resolutions. I'm trying to lose 31 pounds by April 1st. So this is one of the meals that I will eat this about 3 to 4 times a week as my main dish, along with a bunch of fasting. And this isn't keto. I tried, and I'll talk a little bit about keto here in a second, but keto is one of those things and those kind of diets where they're not very flexible as far as like what you can and can't eat. And you don't get a lot of things like cheat days, which I think everybody needs a cheat day, because it takes a few days to get into ketosis. And once you're in ketosis, it doesn't take anything to knock you out of it. And that's one of the and as far as the 11 herbs and spices, that I wasn't being actually 11 herbs and spices, and I'll go over that here in a second too, exactly what I'm using. But we're just going to start out. This is about a pound of chicken breast, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut it up, and then we're going to do a quick velvet on that. But so we're going to save this piece because I'm going to throw that into the pan as sort of the something to grease the pan with, because that's one of the things. Now you can use this as a stir fry or as a lot of different things. But yeah, going back to what I said about keto is one of those things that just it's tough. I've done keto a couple different times, and the times I did it, I really screwed up my body doing it. There's a lot of risk to doing keto diets that people don't, they don't tell you. One, when you take out that amount of fiber in your diet and having a more rounded diet, you can mess up a few things. My personal experience with keto is the first time I did it, I caused myself, I was doing 20 carbohydrates a day, and that wasn't just net, that was total. And after about 5 weeks of that, I ended up having heart palpitations. That put me into the hospital overnight and to get straightened around. And so then the next time I did it, which was this past year after my shoulder surgery, I went pretty hardcore keto, and I ended up because I had very little fiber in my diet, very little anything but a lot of fat proteins and things, fatty stuff. I was eating a lot of steak. I was eating a lot of bacon. I was eating a lot of sausages. I was eating a lot of things like that, and I ended up giving myself an inflamed gallbladder. And you can do that when you don't have enough fiber in your diet. You can inflame your gallbladder, and that's another thing. So I kind of stopped dieting for just a little while, and then I went to just kind of, not doing much of anything because of the holidays. And with New Year's resolutions for me, I do tend to do New Year's resolutions, and I tend to stick to my resolutions. But I don't start them. I have a January birthday, so I don't start those until after my birthday. I'm saving the fat. I'm throwing that into the pan. We're going to use that as a little bit of grease, because when you look up the calorie count and the carbohydrate count in a chicken breast, there is a negligible amount of fat that they figure is actually in there. So what we're going to do is, so I've got my chicken cut up into some fairly rough size pieces. I cut them down, a few of these down just a little bit more, but that's pretty much what we're into. Now, a lot of ways to velvet, you can use egg, you can use a lot of the egg whites, egg yolks. You can use a lot of different things to oils to do that. But what I'm going to be using today is I'm just going to go straight to what I have here, and I'll show that because I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. But this is a tablespoon of baking soda and 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Those are both really good for breaking everything down. Let me grab my bowl. We're going to put those in there. We're going to put the chicken into this bowl here that I have. And we're going to set that off to the side. We're going to give it about a 5 to 10 minute velvet. That doesn't seem like a lot of time, but that's going to be plenty of time to velvet this chicken down. Just enough. Where we can see it there. I feel like that Amish girl that never looks at the camera, or looks at the camera that constantly while she's making her stuff. And we're just going to put that on there. You get all of our chicken. Plus I have the chicken in there, so we're just going to drop that in there, the cream of tartar and the baking soda, as much as I can get out there. And I'm just going to move that around in there a little bit until that's all covered. I'm trying not to touch the cutting board cover. And you'll feel it. You can add just a little bit more. I probably should have added maybe another 1/2 spoon of the baking soda, but that really, let me see where I'm at. But you just kind of want to give it a little bit of a grainy coverage. And once this is sat for 10 minutes, I'm going to rinse this back off. I'm not going to throw that into the basically it's a stir fry. But we're not going to add a bunch of stuff to the stir fry. A lot of the times when you're looking at calories and things like that, and all that, you're looking at the oils that you add. It's not so much the ingredients in the meal, but you can add a lot of calories just in the oil. Just 2 tablespoons of any oil, and pick any oil you want. It's about 140 calories and 14 grams of fat. So, all right, so that's about where I want it. You want it to feel sort of grainy, but you don't want it like, you're not really looking at like covering it like a dredge. You just want it to be slightly covered over. Okay, so that's pretty good, and we'll set that off to the side. Set that off over there. We'll flick that chicken in there. I don't know, my dog has been, the dog has been pretty upset today about all of the snow that's been falling off the roof, because it actually got above 32 today. And so my dog is thinking that there is somebody constantly at the door, because all the snow's been falling off the front of the house here the last couple hours, and she doesn't understand that there's nobody out there. It's just snow. So she's going to do a little barking, maybe a little whining, but that's kind of her job. She's the built-in alarm system. Let's see here. Let's see. Let me catch up with some of the comments. Oh, my comments just went away. We'll see how many folks are in. Oh, we got quite a few people. Everybody seems to be hitting the like button. I'm so happy with that. With this channel, is that it seems that I've hit almost 100%. I've hit about 100% with people hitting the like button for the amount of viewers that we get, and that's just never heard of. So thank you so much for hitting the like button and the subscribe button. That is so cool. Yeah, Fuzz, the snow is heavy today. It's snowman snow, and up until that, it's been pretty powdery, at least in my section. Yeah, I mean, it's been real powdery. I wanted to get a snowman built for out in front of the house, but I just haven't had a chance. So we're going to cut up the next part of this, which is just 1 onion and 1 pepper. So I've got these cleaned off. Let me throw the other cutting board down so I don't onion up my cutting board. And just throw this over there. I mean, these are tough. These have been tough onions. this batch of onions that I got. The outer rind anyway, the woody rind on the outside has just been super, super tough. And I might just give it a chop or run through the sharpener here real quick. I hit it when I washed them there this morning. Or this over there in the old compost bucket. There we go. And these are everything, the green peppers are already washed. I didn't think these needed washed. The onions anyway. But we'll just give those a quick chop and dice. This is a really nice meal, and you can do a lot of different things with it. But like I said, this was my go-to, and what I did on the side of that was I did 10 minutes of exercise a day. That was it. I didn't go to the gym. I had a couple of dumbbells in the garage, and I walked for a half an hour a day. I did a 30-minute walk, which I've been doing, except for the last couple days because it's just been ungodly cold outside, and I've tried to take the dog out, and even the dog's been tapping as well. And we'll just give these a rough chop. It doesn't need to be perfectly uniform, nothing like that. But you want to have a whole onion and a whole pepper. Now the onions or the pepper is kind of small, so we'll see if that actually. Turn the skillet up just a little bit more. Let that heat up. But I hope I'm not the only. Yeah, this weather is just, and it's going to get bad. We're going to have a little bit of halfway decent weather tomorrow, and it wasn't too bad today. Like Fuzz was saying, the snow's kind of heavy. That means there's a lot of moisture in the air, but that is going to go away like really, really, really quick. Really quick. Let's see here. So we'll just do this other part of this onion. I don't know if that's the best way to dice an onion, but it seems to work out pretty well for me. And like I said, we've got that velveting in it. And then when I throw this in there, I'm going to go by the directions and do just about 2 tablespoons of olive oil when I actually get this over to the that. Let me see here. Cast Iron K. Hey Corey Clark, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Cast Iron Chaos, I was pretty impressed with your pizza yesterday. Very, very impressed. This one I used a little bit of this for my eggs this morning. Cut off just a little sliver of pepper for my eggs this morning. Made kind of a little omelet to get my day going. That in the compost. This one with the peppers I'll go because I like a little snap in my pepper. Just kind of keep these fairly big. I don't need to dice these very small. This knife is going to need a little sharpening here in a minute. I am not digging this. Let's see, throw those in there. Let's see. Yeah, that pizza, I think I've seen you make that pizza style or the crust style before with the beer, and not just because I'm a big fan of Yingling, which I am. Yingling is a good beer. I've polished off quite a few of those in my day, but that was a neat idea, and I like the quickness of the pizza. A lot of times, I've done a few, more than my fair share of homemade pizzas. And I mean, like starting with tomato and going the whole day and making the sauce and all that stuff. And the dough is the hardest part. I mean, a lot of times, like you said last night, you know, you can literally proof a dough. And working in a pizza place, like I used to work in a pizza place when I was in high school, and we would make our own dough, and that to proof the dough was 24 hours. that was like the last thing we did at the end of the night. Was we would, either the first or last thing we would do at the end of the night is we would make new dough. And then it would proof for 24 hours in the refrigerator. Check the comments here real quick. Oh yeah, that's the thing, and that's what I was saying. I mean, I get so off track when I'm on this thing, and I understand what you're saying. It's hard to cook sometimes when you're talking at the same time. But that's one thing I like about these kind of diets, where you're not going complete. You're not just completely depriving yourself to the point where you can't have a cheat day. That was the thing with me, is that like my family, when they come and visit, you know, like when my daughter comes and stays for the amount of time she comes and stays, you know, I'd have 2 weeks where I would just be on a completely strict diet, and then she would come and we'd go out for pizza, or we would go out for this, or, you know, she'd want to eat this or that, and I just couldn't. You know, I'd have to make a completely separate meal. And I don't like making separate meals. So when you're not in ketosis, but you're just kind of just lowering the carbohydrate intake that you have, adding a little exercise into your diet, you're really freeing yourself up to kind of just do a little, you know, do a little better. Okay, so I've got all that stuff. I got 1 onion and 1 green pepper in there. You can add other stuff. You can add celery, carrots, whatever you want to do. I'm not big on carrots because of the amount of sugar in them. Because I like to be able to keep. I'm not like limiting myself to a certain amount of carbs in a day, but at the same time, I'm not trying to push the limit. I'm not trying to say, oh, I'm going to stay under 100 carbs a day. I'm just knocking the carbohydrates out of my diet as much as possible without losing fiber. Like this morning, I had an egg and a half, and the reason I had half the egg is because I did an egg wash for the bread that I made for the weekend. And then the other thing was, so I did half egg and a half, and so I used the rest of that egg wash in my eggs with a little bit of cheese, and then a bowl of oatmeal. The old-fashioned kind, the big flakes, not just the little ones, not the quick oats, but the regular ones. Oh, let me see here. Okay, so I'm gonna grab the chicken, and what we're gonna do with that chicken that's been velveting is we're gonna rinse that off real quick, and I'm gonna throw that in. I've got the one of the things, if you've watched this before, and I'll show you over here, is I use that extra chicken fat to grease the pan. That was a little trick that Graham used to use back in the day. She would actually do a whole chicken fryer and take the skin and the fat from that, and she would render that down. She'd warm it up and get the fat out of it, and that's what she would fry her chicken in, was that fat. And like I said, that's already, when you look at the calories on a skinless, boneless breast, it's going to already have that in there. Ooh, I've lost a lot of folks. Maybe they are not too into low calorie diet. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so we've got our fat rendering over there. Real quick, I'm going to take and I'm going to glove up because I'm handling raw chicken. And I don't know if you guys saw today, I had I put up my Stargazer, and the interesting story behind that Stargazer is that was my birthday present that I bought for myself a few years back, and that was one of my first bigger purchases toward getting some cast iron for myself. I bought that, and it was kind of pricey. You know, we all know what they go for. I think I got mine unseasoned, bare, so it was like $90 and whatever they charged in those at that time for shipping, like $15 or whatever. But I got that on my birthday, and that was my first, so that was kind of a big deal for me. But I wanted to do, I see a lot of people, they do contests. Now I'm going to have giveaways at some point when I get a certain amount of subscribers or whatever. But I'm gonna do a contest starting right now with my birthday coming up. That now, not in these comments, but in the comments on the video, if you can guess the city that I was born in, and this is going to be an ongoing thing until somebody gets it. I kind of got this idea. I was watching Saving Private Ryan today, and there was, if you've ever watched Saving Private Ryan, there's a pool that they all get into to see what the major did, Tom Hanks's character did in the real world, and he had a running thing. So this isn't going to just go with this tonight's little broadcast, but in the comments section, take a guess on where my hometown is that I was born in, and if anybody guesses it, we're going to remind everybody each week until somebody gets it. If you can figure that out, I got a nice prize for somebody who can figure that out. So there's our chicken. Now that that's come back out of there. City or state? The city. The city that I was born in. A long, long, long time ago. At least I think it's a long time ago. A lot of people might not think it's a long time, but I think it's a long time. So we've got their chicken done. And it's been rehydrated with some water. And I rinsed off all the baking soda and cream of tartar. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to add... Ooh, gross. Let me get rid of this glove. And then I'll show you what I'm going to gotta walk around this darn camera stand. Okay, so in here, this is what we're going to be seasoning with. I've got a tablespoon of dehydrated chives. I've got a teaspoon, these are all half teaspoons. Half teaspoons of crushed red pepper, half teaspoon of white pepper, 1/2 teaspoon of regular black pepper, half teaspoon of garlic, half teaspoon of iodized salt, because we need iodine if you're dieting or whatever. Your body needs iodine, and there's such a thing with these newfangled salts that everybody's using that they don't get iodine into their diet. And then just a little bit of turmeric, because in the when you're dieting and you're exercising, things like that, you get a lot of inflammation from losing weight. You actually will have inflammation problems. So I threw a little turmeric in there just to get rid of the inflammation. And I'm going to throw all that stuff right in on top of that chicken. Sorry, my hand's in the way, but I don't have a cameraman. I need to up my budget and get a cameraman. But yeah, that contest is ongoing, and all you have to do is guess the city that I was born in. And if you do win, you have to be able to produce a place to ship stuff. It doesn't have to be your home address. It can be anybody's address. It can be your neighbor's address, and you can just porch pirate it if you need to. And you can send, and that'll all be from, you'll be able to send that to honeyjbadger@yahoo.com. That's my email. So, and I will put that up there when somebody wins. And I do check these. Like I said, it's not in this comment section. It's in the comment section of the video, the one that's going to be there after all the live video is gone, or all the live comments goes away. And mine does. So we're going to switch this over here. Going to go back over this way. We're going to move that chicken fat around just a little bit. Flip that over. Because that's for the dog. The dog, this is my dog. The dog's treat. Because it doesn't have any kind of seasoning or anything on there. And that's a good amount. I don't know if you can see that very well, because I do have to stand in front of this at some point. Ooh, a little splatter. And work that around. And then get one of those bowls. Get one of those bowls over here so I can dunk that fat into there. We'll put the oven mitt on there. Throw this up there. But yeah, I thought this would be a fun little video to do with everybody having resolutions this time of year. Resolutions are tough, man. They're a hard thing to pull off. I've been lucky in my lifetime to actually finish a lot of the resolutions that I have. I've set out for myself. But they were ones that I try to make my resolutions fairly attainable. You know, I don't say, hey, I'm going to make $1 million this year, or you know, things like that. I don't make resolutions that are out of my realm. I try to make them to where they're actually doable. And I think that's where a lot of people make a mistake. They, you know, hey, I'm gonna lose. You know, I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that, or I'm gonna be a completely different person, or, you know, I'm gonna stop acting crazy, whatever. Let me see. Let me catch up on some of these here. Yeah, it's that's the fun part. That's why I said I'm one of those folks. I like puzzles, and I like like the longer a movie is, the better I like it. And I follow on the internet. I follow a lot of like scavenger hunts and things like that. So I thought this would be fun. It doesn't. It's and you can and we'll do this, and you can put them in the comments section. I'll remind everybody until there's a winner. And like I said, there'll be other giveaways and stuff. I have stuff to give away. I'm just not going to do it until I have enough subscribers to really make it worth anybody's time to do that. Let me see here. So like I said, we're gonna do about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, if that. Maybe just a tablespoon. 2 tablespoons is a lot of oil, actually. That's probably a little more. That's probably about 2. And we'll throw these in there. I got my stove set at just about right in between 3 and 4 on the dial. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but it actually is getting a little smoke going. Yeah, I have seen that with, I can't, I want to say Sean Connery, but that's not it. The Second Amendment, he was big on the Second Amendment. Ben-Hur, and he did all those movies. I've seen Ben-Hur. I'm trying to think. Oh, what was his name? Somebody put it in the comment section. Give Fuzzy my Wafok. Yeah. That might be one that goes into the coffin with me eventually. That'll probably be the one the kids I might have to leave that in my will who that one goes to. That's one of those has to be sold things in your will. But my kids, I don't know. One of my daughters has a lot of Ming, who's here a lot of time when I'm doing my live. She's not here tonight, but a lot of times when I'm doing my lives, I have my daughter Ming who's here, and she's big on cast iron. She actually, I'm redoing her Lodge number 8. It's out in the tank right now. Was it Kirk? It wasn't Kirk Douglas that was in that. Oh, what's his name? I wish I had I could take my computer off. I'd look it up real quick. Charlton Heston. That's who yeah, there you go. Ding, ding, ding. Fuzz has got it. Kirk Douglas was in a lot of the Gladiator type movies. But I'm struggling to think which ones he was in. Was he Samson? In Samson and Delilah, or am I thinking of? No, I'm thinking of Liz Taylor and Charles Burton. Kirk was Spartacus. There you go. Yeah. I have a very special number 14 Lodge. Give this a little stir. We don't want to get this too tough. We got all of our spices already in there. And like I said, you can add a little bit of sesame oil and some maybe some ginger oil or something like that. Add ginger to it, and you've got a nice Asian meal. And throw some rice on the side, some egg rolls. It's not a bad stir fry. And when I do a stir fry, I generally do chicken thighs, so it's a little more Chinese food style. They tend to use a lot more chicken thigh and everything. At least around here they do. That's what I've grown up around. Do a lot of chicken thighs, and that's what I prefer in my I like Victor Mature. I don't know what that is. As of May 2024, there are 109,000 cities in the United States. A tiny hint for the contest might be needed. Okay, I'll give one hint. Per episode. How about I do that, Greg? I'll do one hint. And the first hint is, so we can eliminate one state from that, is I currently live in Ohio, and it is not a city in Ohio. How about that? Not a city in Ohio. And if you've ever bought any of my beard merch, if anybody out there has ever looked at my beard merch, beard, B-E-R-A-D, or B-E-A-R-D, beard merch, there's some hints into that. Because I kind of incorporate a little bit of stuff that my own life into all my products. If you've ever seen any of my Seven Shamrocks Beard Company merch, especially the t-shirts, some of my editions of my t-shirts have a very good clue of where that city in the world may be. But yeah, it is not Ohio. Because I was not born in the state of Ohio, even though I've resided here for a good portion of my life. My farm was here, all this kind of stuff. And my family, my parents were from Ohio. That's why we ended up back here. But yeah, that's the first one. It's not in the state of Ohio. How about that? Was it in the United States? Yes, it is in the United States. Absolutely. Yeah, so much for Lima. That's where my sister was born in Lima, though. My sister was born there. One of my kids was born in Lima. Or no, I'm sorry, was not born in Lima. I had I mixed up hospitals there for a second. But one of my sisters was born in Lima, Ohio. My second to youngest sister was born in Ohio. And she's the only one out of my sisters that was born in Ohio. So that's getting... Just want to give these a little bit of a turn. I'm going to let them sit in one spot for about a minute. Let sit for about a minute. And then we're going to add the vegetables in. Yeah, that's got to do with my birthday that's coming up here pretty quick. My birthday will have passed as of the next time we do next week. Next week, we will not be doing any kind of a diet meal. I can guarantee you, after I've had this a few times and had instead of my normal 2 sunny side up eggs with a piece of toast in the morning and orange juice, like I have, and a couple cups of coffee, I'll be eating 2 hard-boiled eggs in the morning without the orange juice and without all the deliciousness in my coffee in the morning. And I do put a lot of deliciousness in my coffee, mostly heavy cream. Or I use the milk from the dairy down the road. That's one thing. That's one thing I'm not going to do without. And that's the reason that I don't do keto, is that I just don't want to have that. I always felt when I was doing keto that if I cheated on my meals, then you'd have to start over. You just pop out of ketosis. So if you do it gradually and you take your time, it's just, I've just noticed in the past few months, it's like, hey man, when my clothes don't fit anymore. When I've had all that surgery done, I had 3 shoulder surgeries because the first one had a lot of complications, and then I had to have other procedures done after that to have the prosthetics put in my arm so that I could move. Because when I had my accident, I broke off that pin that connects your shoulder together, and then I had a distal fracture from the top of my shoulder all the way down to the top of my elbow. Luckily, it didn't get into the joints, but then I had to have a partial shoulder replacement. Let me break one of these in half and see how that. Yeah, okay. So we're ready for the. I don't want to overdo the chicken because I don't have much oil in this. So we're going to use the oil from the vegetables to kind of get that together. There we go. I might have been better off with a number 10. A lot of times I'll do this in a 10, but I thought it would be a little bit small. I didn't think it would be enough to be in the 10, and I didn't want it to really be where it wasn't cooking the sides. And a lot of times when I'm doing like a stir fry kind of thing, I'll use my number 10 black lock skillet because it has sort of the rounded wok style sides, because I don't have a wok. And but that great seasoning that comes on the black locks, for whatever reason, started to powder off. So that is currently residing in one of the lye tanks out in the garage, and it will be there for a while because that one piece does not want to sit on its other side. There we go. And I do want to give a shout out. I'm not going to get into, but one of the folks that watches the show and has been watching the show since the very first chili video that I did on a dare, which got me started doing these. Frank from Montana sent me some really cool mail this week that I got, and Frank actually authored his own cookbook and compiled a bunch of recipes from around where he's from. And I haven't had a chance to look through the cookbook all that much, but I do have some. It's a wild game cookbook, and Frank, I think that's super cool. It's probably, and the nice note, the nice letter that you sent along with it. That's one thing you don't see very often, is a handwritten letter, and I was really it was pretty special to get something like that sent to me in the mail, and I was really happy to get that. And it's, like I said, it's a wild game cookbook that he's compiled living in all the years that he's lived in Montana, and I just happen to have a bunch of wild game, not a bunch, but I have some. I have my future son-in-law is a hunter, and I get out I don't get out like I used to hunt, but I have a lot of friends who do, and they are gracious enough at times for to drop off some venison or some of this, but I'm not gonna. And I have a buffalo farm that's about 45 minutes from me that I frequent quite a bit. We'll get a better picture of the how this is coming along. It's got a nice color. I'm gonna add my normal. I'm gonna spice this up and the reason that I'm throwing spices into it is, and I was gonna mention this earlier, is that when you're using a chili pepper, you're raising your body temperature up just slightly. Just slightly are you raising that up, and You know, anything that gets your body in that in that uh, in that condition of burning fat is a place that you want to be. There we go. This is starting to come along. And sometimes I'll throw a little bit of Tabasco in there as well. That's just a dehydrated cayenne pepper. Lost one. There's one to jump, and now I'm gonna let that sit. Let that sit for a second and keep that moisture in there. And we'll top it with a lid. Let's see. Oh, Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy Langford. I was just about to read your message and then it went away. Oh, I remembered that I'm doing a number 9. I don't have anything but cast iron lids for that. I don't want to clean a cast iron lid tonight, so I'm just going to let it go. Just going to let that go as it is. It only needs another couple of minutes. We're just going to get... I'm actually going to turn this up. I've got this on this... If you have an electric stove like I do, and not the greatest electric stove like I do, you can, you know that you have some burners that are better than others. And I rewired one of my burners on the other side, the front left one that I normally use. And I'm going to rewire the other ones here at some point. Let's see, let's see, you have a Buffalo Farm. They have a festival on 43 outside of Carrollton. I know where Carrollton is. I have a lot of friends up that way. I have a lot of friends in Avondale and Avon on the Lake, and in Warren. And so I get up that way. I usually do in September, I do a camp out with some friends of mine every year at, I'm just so bad with names when I get on this. I just lose my nouns when I do this show. When I do these lives. Shouldn't really call it a show. It's not a show. Let's get these in there. But I think one of these days I'm going to have to do what Cast Iron Chaos did and just invest in a wok. I think that's really going to help me out. Let's check it. Yeah. But the chicken's starting to come along. You can sort of see we're starting to get some, where it's getting away from the pink. That in there. And yeah, and with this dish, there's about altogether there's about 700 calories in the whole thing. And once I throw this onto my plate, how much food this actually is. And like I said, you can add some celery to this. You can add a lot of whatever you want. But I try to stick with it to where I keep it at about 600 to 700 calories for dinner, and that's how I'm doing it for a while. Great Trail Festival, Nelson Ledges. That's where I go every year in September. That's where I'm at. I just thought of it when you showed the Great Trail Fest, because I know what you're talking. I do know about that festival. I'm a big festival guy too, and I work a lot of. Up until COVID, I used to sell my products at a lot of music festivals and things like that. Music festivals, community festivals. That was kind of those were sort of my haunts. That's where I did a lot of my selling up until COVID happened. And I did a few after that, and then I was just like, too many regulations for me. I'll stick to online and go that route. But yeah, okay, so that's pretty much, I'll give it another minute and we're gonna pull that off. I'm gonna grab a plate down. Medium hurt. Move this just a smidge out of the way. There we go. Yeah, Nelson Ledges, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Kind of the hippie, sort of hippy dippy place to be. Move this out of the way. Set my plate down over here. Oh! I hit my stand. This stand, I tell you what, I'm not a big fan of this stand. Not a fan of this stand. Ooh. Tighten that up at the bottom. There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's ready to go. So we'll just move this over here to the plate without knocking it completely over, which I think it's getting a little top heavy for some reason. All right, anyway. Change this one out. And I didn't make a ton of dishes tonight. I'm pretty happy about that. And I haven't been too happy with these onions that I got last time at the store. They get mushy. They don't really stay together like my normal sweet white onions that I get. Let that fluff up a little bit. But yeah, one skillet. Took about 30 minutes without me blabbing and talking. There we go. Yeah, not too bad. We'll let that sit just a second, and I'll give it a taste. But yeah, like I said, this is going to be really good. And like I said, you can, William Hurt, what's cooking? It is my diet chicken meal. Let me see. Yeah, hipster Amish, hipster Amish cooking. Yeah, if you saw my short that I did today, I used Tragically Hip as the music in there today. And I'll throw just a little bit of what am I going to throw on there? A little bit of Worcestershire sauce on there to give it a little flavor boost. That's what my kids always say. They say I'm tragically hip. But I am a hipster. I will say that. If I had long hair, I'd probably be pulled back in one of those weird little bun things. And I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt in the middle of winter. Oh yeah. Let's give this a go. Really, really good. And yeah, Cynthia, these the peppers are great. The onions are just a little soggy. They like you said, they're out of season. But yeah, for a pepper and onion and a pound of chicken, and it's 700 calories, that's you're not going to go wrong with that. And it's got some spice. It's going to fill you up. It's going to stick with you a while. And like I said, if you want to do some rice on the side, do a little bit of rice on the side. I'm just trying to just cut out some extras. But I can tell you this, next week's meal is not going to be a diet. That's going to be my cheat meal next week. And I really wanted to do the crawfish. Sorry, talking with my mouth open, or my mouth full. With my mouth open. I did want to do the crawfish, but the butcher shop was out of crawfish until next week, so the crawfish didn't happen, and I found that out on Sunday. I'm trying to give a little more notice of what I'm cooking on the lives and all that. So, or at least give a hint to what I'm cooking on the lives. And Sunday when I went to Monday morning, there's a butcher's closed on Sundays. When I went to the butcher on Monday, they were out of crawfish. And that crawfish that you see in the community page, that was fantastic. And I did write that. I've got that all written down on how I did that with just that little bit of pasta on the side, the butter noodle pasta. That was fantastic. That was absolutely fantastic with the white wine sauce. But I knew if I broke out the wine tonight, I wouldn't just use the quarter cup that I wouldn't just use a quarter cup that I put into the sauce. I'd probably finish the bottle. Because how do you open a bottle of wine and not finish it? I will say that the peppers came out good. And that velvet chicken, even though a lot of times on the recipes that you see on the internet, they'll tell you to velvet your chicken for hours and overnight and all this. If really all you need to velvet your chicken is just a little bit of, like I said, a little bit of baking soda. The cream of tartar really helps. You have the alkaline of the baking soda, and then you have the acidic properties of the cream of tartar, and that will they will just go in there and break down the toughness of any meat in no time. I don't know how long I've actually had that velveting, but it was only about as long as it took me to cut up an onion and a pepper, and that was it. And then I rinsed it back off. You don't want to put that. You don't want to put that baking soda and the cream of tartar. You don't want to leave that on your chicken. And rinsing that off, giving that just that little bit of rinse in cold water will rehydrate your chicken just a little bit, and it's really nice and juicy and soft. But it's got a little bit of, it's not pudding, you're not, it's a really good texture. It's a really good texture. And like I said, it doesn't take you forever to do that at all. And when I use a chicken thigh, I cut them into a lot smaller pieces than I do with the chicken breast. But, and I use that for everything. A lot of times, but I will say when I do an actual Asian style dish, I will put in House of Sang oil, which is a ginger and garlic infused oil. And I do put just a touch of sesame oil in to help with the velveting as well. But this one, if that's all you have is just baking soda, and even the cream of tartar is really optional if you don't have it. But it does work, and it will work really well, especially if you're especially when you go with a darker piece of meat like a leg meat or thigh meat that's already fairly, it's pretty juicy anyway. It's really going to work. It's really going to work really well. Oh wow, we almost hit about 30 people tonight. That's great. Yeah, hit that like button, and I've almost done it. We've almost done it again tonight, where we've had as many likes as we have people watching, and that is, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. That is so cool. And there, just with that little bit of the pepper that I put in on top of there, with the little bit of the I think it was a teaspoon of and a very, very, like a measured teaspoon of crushed red pepper. This has got a lot of kick to it. It's got a nice spice. It's not one that's hitting you in the back of the throat to where you can't eat it, or people would turn their nose. If you like spicy, that's about what you need right there. And the peppers still have a really nice crunch. And if you have and maybe a tip would be to leave the onions more about that size if you have them out of season like mine are, because those about that size have a really nice crunch to them, and they didn't get soft like the other ones. They didn't mush up. But yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at all. It's a little bit of sweet with the onion, spicy with the red in there, and just enough turmeric to really, you can see that it added just a little bit of the yellow color to it, so you know that got around in there. And white pepper, I'm just on a sort of how a lot of people get on kicks with the smoked paprika. I'm on a kick with white pepper right now. White pepper is really where it's at. I'm really liking white pepper, especially really finely ground white pepper. That's banging. It really is. Yeah, and you can see that's just, I'm using just a spoon to cut that chicken. That velveting really worked. And I'm not having it with a beer or wine tonight. I'm having it just with my bottle of water. So good. Are you guys going to go over and see what is Luis having his show tonight? I haven't. I looked at his community page a little bit ago, and I didn't see anything. I did watch the hot dog video last week. That looked really good. I'd like to get some Cincinnati style coney dogs going. I do have a can of Skyline chili in my cupboard that has been screaming my name. Let's see what everybody's saying. You're on the wagon too. Yeah, man, it sucks. Yeah, I do like a nice. I like a nice beer. A couple on. There's a few nights I do like to have a couple beers, a few beers. Wednesdays, a lot of times, my Wednesday and Sundays, those are my days to have beers, usually. And then wine is whenever, that just depends. Depends on the people over. A lot of times when people come over, I have wine. A lot of times people, everybody seems to like wine. But I would usually have beers in the refrigerator too. But wine seems to go with, a lot of people will drink wine that won't drink beer. But yeah, I hope this looks to you guys as good as it does here, because it's this is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, ground mustard. Ground mustard. My mom makes this thing called Jezebel, and this might be something if you Southerners are out there, if you guys know what Jezebel is, that's it's an apple. It's an apple and apricot jelly with mustard and horseradish dip, and it is phenomenal. And she uses so much, I think she uses one of these, like a small container of ground mustard in it, and it is fantastic. Yeah, like I said, Rick. Yeah, I don't know if he's having one or not. Good night, Mercy B. Glad you could come. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And I appreciate all the likes and the subscribers and everything else. That just means so much. I just like water with my meal. If I have beer, it will be before the meal. Yeah, I don't drink a lot of beer. I don't drink like pizza and beer. I'm not a pizza and beer guy. I'm a pizza and Pepsi guy. That's I've never liked pizza and beer together. For whatever reason, it's never appealed to me. But I like it afterwards, and I like it before. I definitely like a couple cocktails before dinner. Gets that appetite going. But anyway, like I said, and yeah, there's nothing wrong with. I've never had Costco pizza. We get we have Sam's Club here, and Sam's Club pizza is one of the best dollar slices you can get, and they're humongous. I love those. Let's see, I'm trying to catch up. Muscadine jelly, deep south. Muscadine jelly. What is that, Brian? Muscadine. If I'm reading that right, without my glasses on. Yeah, muscadine jelly. I'm gonna stay on until Brian clarifies what a muscadine jelly is. I gotta go braise some marinated lamb shoulder. Later, gang. Yeah, William Hurt, have a good night. We'll see you. Thank you so much for showing up and having cooking with me tonight. I so appreciate it. William Hurt grapes. Now that's the jelly right there. Now, are you talking, Cynthia, do you mean grape jelly or the muscadine jelly? If I'm reading that right or pronouncing it right. Mescaline southern grapes. Mescaline, I don't know if that's a... I've heard of that mescaline before, and I don't know if that's a grape. Let me see. Mescaline southern grapes. I like that. Mescaline is a grape. Oh, it is. Oh, muscadine is a grape. Okay, muscadine's a grape. I thought, where does it say? I thought, you're pronouncing it right. Oh, I am pronouncing it. Muscadine grapes, huh? Muscadine wine. I'll be darned. Yeah, that's Handsome Stone. I know exactly what you mean. My spelling, and that's why if you guys ever see me in the comments and then I've deleted some, it's because I've spelled something completely wrong or forgot to put like half the sentence in there. Trying to trying to to type into these things sometimes is a pain in the butt for sure. All right. But yeah, once again, a shout out to Frank from Montana. I know, Frank, you can't comment on the videos. I know you're here. Thank you so much for the wonderful gifts this week and the handwritten letter. That was super nice. That was a great thing to open up when I got home from the post office a couple days ago. And I do have your address. I'd like to return something to you as well, and thank you for your contact information so I can do so. I appreciate that so much. But yeah, I'm gonna let you guys get going. I'll see you probably in a little bit while I'm doing my dishes. Thankfully tonight I did not make a ton of dishes, which that never happens. Usually I have a pile of dishes behind me, but this was pretty simple, and I'm gonna finish this up, and I'm gonna do my dishes, and then I will see you guys over at Luis's. All right, guys. Thanks for showing up. See ya.